Hello students, welcome to the class of Business Studies. I am N.K. Thukral from Edupedia World. Students, in the previous session, we had discussed on business environment and types of business environment. So today I am going to take up on economic policy of India. I mean to say the new industrial policies and how it affects the businesses. The main aim of the new industrial policies was to create a more competitive environment in the economy and to remove the barriers of entry and growth of firms. Let me tell you that what is economic policy? Economic policy refers to the actions that governments take in the economic field. It covers the systems for setting levels of taxation, government budgets, the money supply and interest, rates as well as the labor market, national ownership and many other areas of government interventions into the economy. So let's talk on detail on the economic policy of India. I mean to say it's a new industrial policy. Now let's talk on that further. What is the aim of new industrial policy? The aim of industrial policy is to create a more competitive environment in the economy and to remove the barriers of entry and growth of firms. So two objectives: to create a competitive environment and next to remove the bottlenecks or barriers of entry and growth of firms. The center has made a new approach towards growth of industries and adopted several new strategies like Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India and Ease of Doing Businesses. The new policy is expected to make Pondicherry a preferred industrial investment destination and envisage strong and specific initiative to ensure timely and hassle-free guidance and clearances to new entrepreneurs. There will be a specific monitoring mechanism with provision for regular assessment of the working of the policy. Further, I may tell you that the new industrial policy envisages capital investment subsidy for new units and for pension of existing industries. Medium and large enterprises would get 35% investment subsidy subject to a maximum of rupees 35 lakhs. This is what the government has decided to do. The women entrepreneurs also have been given the due importance, and also as those belonging to scheduled caste and tribes would be sanctioned 40% subsidies on investments made on land, building, plant and machinery subject to a maximum of rupees 75 lakh. The policy has also a slew of concessions and subsidies under categories of power, pollution control equipment and technology acquisition categories and also for skill enhancement funds. So what is the main objective of industrial policy? To create more competitive environment in the economy and to remove the bottlenecks of entry and growth of firms. So students, let's go ahead. Let's see what are the features of new industrial policy. Number one is de-licensing. The new policy abolished industrial licensing for all projects except for 6 industries. Another feature of industrial policy is decrease in role of public sector. The number of industries exclusively reserved public sector reduced to 4 and remaining industries were open for private sector. So private sector has been given due importance in comparison to public sectors. Another is disinvestment. And nowadays you must be reading in the newspaper disinvestment of certain public sectors one by one. So disinvestment refers to selling a part or whole of the shares of public sector undertaking. Disinvestments were carried out in case of many public sector enterprises like Coal India or you can say NTPC also, and further other government public sector undertaking. Disinvestment is in the mind of Government of India. Another is liberalization of foreign capital. The shares of foreign equity participation was increased and in many activities 100% foreign direct investments was permitted. Another feature of the policy is liberal policy for technical collaboration. Automatic permission was granted for technological agreements with foreign companies. Another is setting up of Foreign Investment Board. FIPB was set up to promote and channelize foreign investments in India. The purpose is that to bring more and more foreign investment into our country. Another is de-reservation under small-scale industries. Many goods produced by small-scale industries were de-reserved. So these are all the features of New Industrial Policy 2016. That means new economic policy which are giving due importance to foreign investment and due importance to technical collaboration and also due importance to small scale industries. So students, let's see what are the objectives of new industrial policy. What it says, there are three things in this policy. Three objectives are there mainly, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. The new industrial policy laid stress on replacing the license quota and permit by liberalization, privatization and globalization. Very briefly, I may tell you that what is liberalization, privatization and globalization. Liberalization means removal of unnecessary control, and privatization means giving greater role to the private sector, and globalization means integrating the various economies of the world, leading towards the emergence of cohesive global economy. Let me discuss one by one. Liberalization involves removal of entry and growth restrictions on the private sector enterprises. The purpose was to unlock the economic potential of the country by encouraging private sector and MNCs to invest and expand. Indian industry has been liberalized in the manner abolition of licensing requirement in most of the industries, no restrictions on expansion or contraction of business activities, removal of restrictions on the movement of goods and services, freedom in fixing the prices of goods and services, liberal process to attract foreign capital and technology to India. That's why liberalization happened, and these are the objectives. Another is privatization. Privatization means giving greater role to the private sector in the nation building process and a reduced role to the public sector. Means the role of public sector will be reduced and due importance will be given to the private sector. That is why it's called privatization. It involves transfer of ownership, management and control of public sector enterprises to the entrepreneurs in the private sector. For privatization, government initiated the following measures like disinvestment and revival of sick PSUs. Disinvestment refers to selling a part of the whole of the shares of public sectors, or whole or full. It dilutes the stake of government in the PSU. If private sector acquires more than 51% shares, then it would result in transfer of ownership and management of PSU to the private sector. This is what it's called disinvestment. And revival of sick PSUs, the Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, that is called BIFR, was set up to revive sick PSUs. So these are the measures taken in privatization. Another is globalization. As I said earlier, it means integrating the various economies of the world, leading towards the emergence of a cohesive or well-integrated global economy. Globalization involves integrating the national economy with the world economy through removal of barriers on international trade and capital movements. Till 1991, the Indian government strictly regulated imports through licensing or imports, tariff restriction and quantitative restriction. However, the new economic policies aimed, or you can say the objective of new economic policy was to liberalize foreign trade so that the country does not remain isolated from the rest of the world. So that's why the globalization is in the mind of Government of India. It increased the level of interaction and interdependence among the various nations of global economy. With the globalization, business enterprises can easily serve customers in a distant geographical market. Which economy is truly globalized? An economy is truly globalized when there is free flow of goods and services across nations, free flow of capital across nations, free flow of information and technology, free movement of people across borders, and a global governance perspectives. So these are the objectives, or these are the things why the globalization is in the mind of Government of India. That's why all these were incorporated in the Indian industrial policy. So students, this is all for the today's session, as we have covered the new industrial policy and features of economic policy and objectives of new industrial policy. So let's wind up today. That's all today for the class. Thank you. Bye bye.